Good Monday morning, everyone. It's time for Ball Cap Bible Study. Although today I'm not wearing a ball cap, I'm wearing it's called a boonie hat. So today will be Boonie Cap Bible Study. It's kind of a military hat. It's got places for you to put things and bullets or whatever. But I'm wearing this by special request. Somebody saw this on me in a picture and then said, "That's a cool hat. Wear that in one of your devotionals." So that's what I'm doing. I won't wear it to work, but this is what I wear when I mow the lawn or do outdoor things, for a long time. Um, Keeps the sun off of me and that kind of thing. So kind of has a cowboy hat look, but it's all canvas and it's a good hat. I like it. Uh, but I also have a military theme. Many of you know I was a veteran. I was in the Navy, and I've got this Bible. You can see that it's pretty well used, but I wanted to read you this insert that it's pretty special to me. That's why I've had it all these years. So this is the presented to page. So let's see what it says. It says, this Bible was presented to Wade Cruz on the 12th day of September, 1982. So I got this over 40 years ago. At Pleasant Valley Baptist Church in Groton, Connecticut. That's where I was, lived at the submarines sub base, and was on the sub tender, the USS Fulton. And it was given to me by, it says Chris Hayes, a brother in Christ, but he was an officer, Lieutenant Chris Hayes, and he went to church with us. And there were some, the church was little bitty church. There aren't very many Southern Baptist churches in Connecticut. It's going to be, your Catholic Lutheran area. And interestingly enough, Jim Schneider, the pastor there, was a graduate of Oklahoma Baptist University. So pretty neat connection. And on the occasion was my departure for Naval Nuclear Power School. So that was pretty neat. So that's our little military theme. We have Veterans Day coming up November 11th, just in about 2.5 weeks. So let's start with some announcements, and then we'll do the devotion, that parallel study between Beatitudes and Fruit of the Spirit. Okay, coming up, let's see. I'm gonna do all this from memory this time. So we have two things this coming Sunday, November 3rd or October 30th. I'm trying to get to Christmas and Thanksgiving. October 30th, Sunday night in the parking lot, we have Candy Crush. And so we have lots of families that'll have their cars out in the parking lot, all decorated, and the kids will come. They have a really neat process that they're using. The church, we are using. There will be this information kind of tent or awning, and everybody will have to go through that, and they'll get the sack that they get their candy with, and inside that will be several flyers about things going on here at Quail Springs Baptist Church and stuff that they can do, or they can bring their kids to, that kind of thing. So that's good. It's a big community outreach thing. So pray for Candy Crush. Pray that they run out of candy. They have so many kids and families that come. That's the kind of stuff that we'll get our foot in the door with a lot of families, just like the Upward sports programs and the gym itself, things like that. So we want to do that. And then also on the 30th during the morning, it'll be First Responder Sunday, and at 11 p.m. at 11 a.m. at that 11 a.m. service, that last service, there'll be an official recognition of our first responders, those police, firefighters, emergency medical people, responders, even the folks, hopefully the folks within our church that provide our security and medical response. They know, and they know that we're recognizing them too. So if you see them in the halls, tell them thank you for protecting us and being there just in case. Hope we never need them. That's the key there. Last night at the business meeting, if you don't know, Paula Vauder, who has been our women's minister for quite some time, she is stepping down. She decided, God laid on her heart, her words, that the direction that she needed to go was was not as the women's minister at Quail Springs Baptist Church. So she's going to continue to do what God has gifted her to do. And isn't that what we should all do? But she's going to go through the rest of the year. And then in January, that position will be vacant. So you guys just pray for Paula and her husband, Brent. Good people. Love the Lord, serve the Lord. You know, she teaches precepts and does a lot of other things with and for ladies. So, you know, just keep them in your prayers. Trying to think what else is coming up. Of course, there will not be a Leisure Live Wires in November, but we're going to have a huge, really good one in December. So the menu will be awesome. It'll be, you know, pot roast and glazed carrots and some good dessert, salad bar. You know, you guys let me know. Do you want the green beans or do you want mashed potatoes? Pot roast and mashed potatoes seems like it ought to go together, doesn't it? So we'll look at that. We might even do all three. We might even do carrots, green beans, and mashed potatoes. Their green beans are out of this world, but the pot roast is amazing. I've never had. I haven't had a grandma that made better pot roast than what Randy does in the kitchen. So that'll be fun. And then we'll have that Capitol Hill alumni choir. They're so good that you'll want to bring your friends, neighbors, invite people to this one. It'll be a big Christmas thing. And also, it's their last performance ever. Randy's going to hang up the baton and they're going to retire that choir. And it's going to be a really, really good concert. I think it's going to be a happy yet very emotional time. So come celebrate the Lord and his birth with us. That'll be, I think that's December 13th, whatever the second Tuesday is. So you might see behind me a green curtain. That's actually in front of a window. I've rearranged my den a little bit. Here, I'll show you what the den looks like. So, of course, you've seen that picture before. I painted that. There's there's my desk that I always am in front of. There's bookcases and stuff there. Let's see. We'll come around this other way. There's another lawyer's bookcase and just stuff. Just you know, a den. But anyway, actually behind me, hopefully before the summer, I gotta see if I can straighten this thing out. Every time I move it, it goes crooked on me. Hopefully before the summer is out, we will, behind me will be plantation shutters, you know, wooden shutters. I don't know if they still call them plantation shutters, but there'll be this is a big window. I can't even hardly I can't reach my arms across it. And so it'll be those big wooden shutters there, and also in the dining room, which is a similar window. But man, they're expensive now. I don't know if you've priced wood, but it's crazy. So well, let's get into the devotional. So today's Beatitude is number 4. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be what? Satisfied. Now, what does that mean? You know, you study it, you research it a little bit, and you see, you know, a lot of people who write commentaries will say things like, you know, everybody thirsts and hungers after something. For some people, it's their physical. I mean, they're really hungry and they're really thirsty. You know, my dad grew up really poor, and you know, we do Thanksgiving baskets and Christmas baskets and stuff like that. And you know, one thing, I mean, he grew up really, really poor, like some of you, but no running water, and you know, chickens running around the front yard. I mean, just dirt poor. Little tiny house. His garage is bigger than the house he grew up in. So anyway, his saying is, those Thanksgiving baskets were nice. We appreciated them, but we were hungry in July too. So blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Here's the thing for me. I look in the mirror and I think, is that me? You know, can I be accused of that beatitude? it's interesting. Some of the guys that try to be funny say they're called Beatitudes because they're the attitudes we ought to be having. But do I have that beatitude? Do I hunger and thirst for righteousness? Now, I do have a heightened sense of justice because of people I've been around, but um, do I would say yes. I hunger and thirst for righteousness. I ache at the thought, sight, or even be in the midst of unrighteousness. I do. I just it's one of the things I hate almost. Um, the righteousness is the theme of the Bible. If you look at, like, take the 23rd Psalms, he directs me on the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. So, when you there are a lot of things people hunger and thirst for, but it's not often righteousness. It's usually self-indulgence. And what happens is people think they want something really bad or badly, and then they just bounce from thing to thing unsatisfied. Well, interestingly enough, the fruit of the spirit that is on the other side of the ledger, so that parallel look, that study, that connection. Think about this. There are a lot of people who hunger and thirst for things that never satisfy them. That they get it, and then what? And then they move on to the next thing that they think they want really badly. Well, the that fruit of the spirit is patience. Think about that. If you hunger and thirst for righteousness, and then the fruit of the spirit is patience, because where does righteousness come from? It comes from the Lord. Look what the like I said, the Psalm says. It says, um, He guides me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. He guides us. Well, for His name's sake. That's patience. Who can satisfy like God? No one can. Nothing can. So that's where your satisfaction comes from. That's where your patience come from. Last week it was peace. So all of that works together. Usually people who are impatient are the ones not getting their way. Think about that. They're not hungering and thirsting after righteousness. They're hungering and thirsting after selfishness, after their own way. That's an unrighteous hunger and thirst. So I don't want to dwell too long on this, but it makes a lot of sense to me. If you want patience, then pursue righteousness. Make your hunger and thirst righteousness. That will satisfy. Because here's something we need to understand. The very next verse in the Psalm, he guides me. He guides me on the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Right? Listen to the next verse. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Do you understand that even the path of righteousness will traverse through the valley of the shadow of death? It takes you there because death is a fact. It's a real thing. And so when you strive for real patience, real calmness, those things that aren't going to, like squirrel, they're not going to distract you, because you're focused, you're hungering and thirsting after righteousness. That gives you patience. Why? Because God's eternal, and it's God that directs you. So for me, it makes a lot of sense, and there's a definite connection. So think about the things that you're pursuing, the things that tug at you, the things that draw you, the things that, for lack of a better word, tempt you. Are we drawn to righteousness? Is that what we pursue? I mean, that's a selfless thing. So and of course the Beatitudes are selfless, but if you want to be satisfied, if you want to, it's like that kid that said, come on, God, give me patience right now. So it doesn't work like that, does it? You know that. I know that. So okay, that's it. That's enough. We can there that's the thing with the Beatitudes and these connections. These could be half-hour devotionals, but we just don't have that much time. So all right, I love you guys, and don't forget those announcements, and pray for the kiddos on Candy Crush, and we'll see you next week.